Gonna stand with the bullshit.
Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another Kicking It session. Today I've got my main man, Hardcore Crypto. I saw a video of his maybe a month ago. It was crazy. He was in his apartment working out. He was showing people. I think you were being sarcastic, but it was hilarious, man. You were like showing people how to work out with the water bottle and stuff. That was pretty funny, man. But great to have Hardcore Crypto, aka Gray, BTC Gray. How are you, man? Thanks for joining me today on the Kicking It session.
I'm glad, man. Thank you for having me on. I think the video you're referring to was that my lifestyle as a Bitcoin millionaire.
Yeah. Loved it, man. That was good. That was good entertainment.
Thanks,
right there, bro. I like that. So, yeah, man. How did we even come about? You hit me up, and literally, it was crazy because you hit me up, and I had just found you maybe 2 weeks prior to you hitting me up. So I'm like, oh yeah, we got to do this. Universe is definitely putting us together. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself. We're playing your song right now, Equity.
Right.
I didn't know you rapped. I didn't even know. So kind of bring us up to speed, man, for my American audience.
Right. So look, I'm a entrepreneur. I'm based in Africa at the moment. And I've been in crypto for 6 years now, and I've just started like everyone else. Was curious about this whole game, and also I was curious about money. I was really trying to figure out this whole money thing. So I was working and all that, and I came across crypto, and then it changed my life. So I just became passionate about the whole thing, and then I started making YouTube videos, and that's pretty much how Hardcore Crypto started, because Hardcore Crypto is a YouTube channel. But other than that, I own a cryptocurrency exchange in Malawi, and then I'm also a high volume OTC trader, P2P. I trade pretty much full time. So mostly everything around me revolves around crypto now. All my businesses, I also have a media business, Imojimotion.com. Then I also founded Crypto University, which is the #1 crypto education platform for traders and investors in Africa.
That's dope, man. So you're doing your thing. Glad to hear that.
And for the rap fans out there, you can check out the album entirely. It's called Satoshi Nakamoto. It's an album about the hustler spirit and cryptocurrency. It's really all about that. So it's on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, and Bandcamp, I believe.
So where are you located out of? What country in Africa?
I'm in South Africa at the moment, Cape Town, South Africa.
Is that where you were born and raised, or where you were actually born?
I was born in Malawi, then I moved in South Africa about 10 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah, so Malawi is a country in East Africa, basically.
Gotcha. So, because again, my audience is America, 98% male, white male to be even more specific. Tell us about what does the cryptocurrency scene look like over there? Is it less mature than maybe in Western countries, or what do you see, and how could you suggest people that aren't overseas position themselves? What's the wave going on right now in crypto overseas?
That's a very interesting question. But the most interesting thing about it as well is that here, it's actually where, from the use case point of view, it's where it's actually more mature.
Yeah, because, I can believe that.
Yeah, because people actually use these assets for what they're meant to be first. So if you're talking about the end user point of view, it's the people are actually using these things for what they should be. But then when it comes to development and tech, and then talent, those are things, and also regulation. Those are things that are still developing slowly. But on the ground, if you're a hustler like myself, there's a lot of opportunity because not many people know about this. And most of our jurisdictions are not as strict as, say, America, right? So it's easier here to acquire some Bitcoin in South Africa, for example, than it is in America. I know my friends in the States who have to wait days to sort of to withdraw money from their Coinbase, or the entire process of buying Bitcoin is too complicated. Here, it's easier to acquire some cryptocurrency, but there is also some arbitration going on because of differences in pricing. So they're just, if you're a trader or you're an entrepreneur, you created, you really want to build something, there's just too much opportunity here, man, when it comes to crypto and blockchain entirely.
So, are people, you're saying people are using it more so than trading it? So which cryptocurrencies are you seeing being used the most? I would think it would be something like a stable coin versus, maybe Bitcoin, where it's more volatile. What are you seeing being the most used cryptos over there in South Africa?
So the most used is Bitcoin, because people are actually using to pay for items, and also they're trying to get over this whole wire transfer BS that goes around, So Bitcoin is the most popular, and that's what people trust. The idea of a stable coin is kind of new, and it's getting a lot of interest, but then it's also something that's fairly new, and people are just getting used to it slowly. It's not very popular here.
So are you seeing more so underground black markets using it over there?
Stablecoins, not really. Not the people that are usually interested in stablecoin are rich people. They have a shitty interest rate, and then in their country, and then they're like, okay, what am I really going to do to protect myself? They have bad interest rate, or inflation rate rather. Yeah. They have the worst inflation rate, and you have too much money, right? To the point that you're willing to buy stable coins at, say, 10% premium, but still that's going to be better than your annual inflation.
Yeah, so let's talk about DeFi. I think you cover that on your channel. What are your thoughts about DeFi? And my question is, because I have a trading background, I've been trading actually for 15 years, primarily FX. I build algos, FX algos, now in TradingView, but I used to build them in MT4. But how are they getting this yield, man? Is it all from lending? Tell us a little bit about, how do you see this DeFi? I don't want to call it a bubble, but it's a mania. Where do you see this? How do you see this ending? Is it good, or is it a bad story?
Look, I think it will have the similar thing as the ICO a little bit, except that this whole DeFi thing, it's set up in a way that you're not printing money from thin air as the ICOs were, right? So it's kind of like pay to play. The companies, they're actually doing something real, and there is value being created, and then people are giving them money to make it work. So most of the DeFi projects are holding a lot of Ethereum in the smart contracts, meaning that they actually have people's money. So the risk on this is a little different, but you're just hoping that the security is good, and also the regulation. You're not worried about whether the companies will exist in the future. Another risk you're looking at is hacking, right? If the hacks happen, or collateral at some point, when the collateral ratios blow out to the point that most people cannot withdraw. But they do have some risk mitigation to it, using algorithms that will increase the interest rate for the lenders. So there's that. But in terms of the bubble you're talking about, which is with the coins that are attached to these projects, to me, that's where the bubble is, because they're not really representing what's underneath the coin. It's just like there's a complete big difference between the asset, which is the token backed by the DeFi platform, and the platform itself. So I'm personally looking at the collateral ratios other than I'm not really too interested in the coins themselves. When it comes to when the 8% you're talking about, the annual returns, it makes sense to me if you do the math. I don't think that's a risk when it comes to you as a lender, because I'll give you an example of Nexo, which is one of my favorite DeFi platform, because they try to really do the right thing and have some insurance to them. But these guys, they charge you 11% interest, and if they promise you 5 or 6%, mathematically, they just need enough people to lend to borrow the money. And if you're a trader in the space, you would know that, look, there is a lot of people borrowing money on this DeFi platform. If you're a trader, you will reach at a point where you need to do that, right? You're speculating on Bitcoin, but also you need USDT to take a trade on an exchange. And then you don't really know how to go about it. What are you going to do? You will just have to borrow some money and trade it. I did that 2 days ago myself, right? I needed money to trade. I have money on Nexo. I have some Bitcoin on there, but I could lend some USDT. So I wanted to short it was Compound a few days ago, right? It went up.
Yeah. I ended up buying Compound a day ago.
Right. You see, so it went up so hard, and I wanted to short it. So I had to borrow some USDC was USDT, and went on some platform and shorted. So to me, that makes sense. They are people interested in borrowing the money, and I paid my interest. So if I paid 11% or 11.5, and then the lender was promised 8%, next would get 3.5%. The rest is history. So the risk is mostly on people that are buying the coins that are, representing these platforms, rather just being a lender. I would rather just be a lender, for example,
right?
Stablecoin or Bitcoin.
So what, you're a bear. You're bearish on Bitcoin right now. Give me your case for that, because I'm thinking that my whole thing, Gray, is that we're going to continually see a positive correlation with equities and the crypto markets.
Right.
That kind of started 2019, late 2019, going into 2020. We started to see that, positive correlation with equities. Why do you see Bitcoin heading lower and ultimately the altcoins getting smacked even harder?
Yeah, look, to all the guys out there in the alt game, hey, just be careful out there, man. But speaking of Bitcoin or the crypto market entirely, and why I'm bearish, it's that, from the trading perspective, technical analysis showing me that everything looks bearish, right? And then if you look at the sentiment right now, let's say you speak about correlation. So actually, let's talk about correlation. So the traditional market is overinflated right now. I think it's because of the free money that's all around and nobody knows where to put it.
Absolutely. But are they going to stop? They're not going to stop that, though, right? They're not going to stop the printing. They're going to keep this thing.
The rate at which they print will stop. So one thing that I would rather pay attention to is that the majority of money that is printed is not going to people like you and I, right?
No.
Most people are broke. So think about this. This is the most amount of money that has ever been printed in a short period of time in history. It has never happened like this before, right? But most people are broke. So what does that tell you? You have more inflow in the system of cash, but at the same time, the majority is broke. So that means that there's a small percentage of people that are actually receiving that money. And it has to go somewhere. And most of those are rich people already. Rich people, they don't have problems of, what am I going to eat today? I need to sell my assets to go whatever, right? So
it's piling into equities. It's piling into Tesla, right?
Exactly. So, those guys are the ones that are inflating the market. And I think, you'll see a crash coming soon, because this rise in equities does not reflect the current economic situation on the ground. So I think it's just the stimulus has affected the market, but then you will see the market has to reach, or there's no such thing as a equilibrium if you ask George Soros, but then there should be a point where things has to reason out properly. Right now, it doesn't make sense. So BTC does not have much going on to push it upwards, I think.
Even with that easy money, you don't think so? You don't think some of that easy money will spill over into Bitcoin?
I would have thought so at the beginning of the lockdown, but not anymore at this point.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I was pretty shocked in that we didn't see a decoupling of Bitcoin and the crypto markets from traditional markets when the whole pandemic came about. Why do you think that didn't happen? Why do you think we still stayed pretty closely correlated with the traditional markets as basically do you think it was more so now we see that cryptos are truly a speculative asset class like all the others?
I honestly expected the worst. Like at the beginning of the lockdown, I thought BTC could go to 4K, and the fact that it did, yeah, I was like, this is bad. But the fact that it didn't, actually, I was very impressed that it stood up and recovered itself a little bit, and now it keeps standing up. So I'm really impressed. I'm convinced that Bitcoin is sort of a hedge cryptocurrency. You know, it's a little uncorrelated from the traditional market because the pattern at which the traditional equities were falling, and Bitcoin is a little different. You know, even on days where they got decimated in the traditional stocks or equities, you could see that Bitcoin could stand, or it was even going bullish during those days. I thought
I would say it's probably, just me analyzing it, I would say it's probably a 0.7 correlation right now to equity. So it's not going to, like you said, it's not 1-to-1 where it's going to go up every day. The equity markets go up and go down every day. But if you look at the lows in cryptos this year and look at the lows in equities, they're spot on just about, you know. So we'll have to see what happens there. I'm banking on more money being printed, unprecedented measures. I mean, stuff shock and awe. Straight Fed buying equities outright. Because right now they're buying it through all these types of special, I don't know if you know about the special purpose vehicles, SPVs, and they're going around about way of doing it right now. But I think they're going to go straight outright buy Tesla, Google, you know, Alphabet, all these companies, man, and just keep this thing rolling up. And at some point, you're right, it will crash. But I'm banking on cryptos heading up with that move up in equities. And when equities crash, I'm hoping we see a decoupling, and that money from the equities market spills over into the crypto markets and continues that push up on cryptos. We'll have to see though.
Yeah,
That's what I'm banking on.
I don't have a reason to think that, but you know, what I'm hoping for now is that people that were 16 years old or 17 or 18 years old in 2017, I think that line of people are partly what, especially you see the kids today doing the whole thing on TikTok with Dogecoin.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, you know, so I think those actually will have a major impact in the market when they start earning money, because those guys, they'll grow up in a world where they don't, like in the world that you and I are already, where sending money around the world is not a problem. You know, you don't think about, oh, how am I going to go about it? And you just feel like send money as you're sending to your neighbor, right? And those will have a major impact. I don't really know how the institutions will go about this, because there's also a lot of synthetic products in the financial market. So it's like nobody wants full exposure to the Bitcoin asset itself, for a number of reasons. You're holding other people's money. The custody problem is real also. It's like, who is going to handle the money, right? Most companies do not have the infrastructure to be able to store the currency. So unless those issues are really resolved properly, I think that's when you see that most will come into the space. And you have already seen, I think DeFi will bring a lot of institutionals, because I've spoken to some people that are into the institutional stuff. Now they see an interest in crypto because they can get involved, make some money on, say, 8.5% APY on a DeFi platform, but without exposure to the volatility of Bitcoin, because they'll do it with stablecoins. That being said, that also makes it very hard for money to actually flow into Bitcoin, right? Because all these other, if you're a fund manager, you don't really care about Bitcoin. You would want to get into crypto simply to make profit.
Yep.
But just holding Bitcoin itself to you, maybe it's not very important in a short-term point of view.
Yeah, short term, no. I mean, because Bitcoin is not a what's called a yielding asset. It doesn't yield anything, right? It's not a productive asset in that point. But like you said, the DeFi industry is booming, man. And I mean, like you said, there aren't many areas for you to find yield in traditional markets nowadays with interest rates near zero. I mean, I'm getting like almost 18%. You know,
On what, man? On what? You got it?
Crypto.com. Yeah, CRO. It's now the top 10 coin.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so, yeah, CRO. Check it. Yeah, so they're doing crazy, and I mean, it's just like, what's going to happen? And that's what I mean, though, Gray. Like, I see like the traditional guys start hearing about this DeFi stuff, and they're going to put some of their clients' money, maybe a small portion, 1%, but 1% of a couple $100 million or $1 billion is enough to, you know, definitely push the crypto markets up. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that is true. So to me, that is the only reason that I would want to bet on a DeFi platform coin, because I think DeFi coins will actually have a big rise because of exactly what you just explained. When the platforms, you know, get to be utilized more and they have a lot of collateral and they'll grow, they'll start offering more products, and then these coins will actually grow. I think right now holding a DeFi coin is definitely a good idea, but a little long term, because right now you don't really know. It's just there is more money going into the coins themselves than how much collateral these guys are. So there's, you know, it's not a big market yet, but the speculation behind it is so good. So, you know, it's just a matter of whether you can invest in a coin like a crypto.com coin, and then you'd be like, look, I'm looking at 4 years time to do this. Or if you're a trader, you might just want to look for the right time to buy. And on my fib retracement, it looks like, you know, I probably should wait before I get in on my trading positions, that is.
Yeah. So what's your play then? What would you tell your audience, or what are you telling your audience as far as what you're doing? Not financial advice, but what is crypto, hardcore crypto doing in 2020, early or not early? Man, this year is past. We're past the halfway point in 2020. Wow. What are you doing for the rest of the year? What's your strategy? What does it look like for you? I mean, you know, no one has a crystal ball, but what do you see going on for the remaining of the year?
Make more money, man. That's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm trying to grow the pie, grow the team, make sure I triple my income in the next couple of months. I was at a point where I had now to switch the gears because I had to accept that the world is never going to be the same anymore after this. You know, that's gone. The whole world that we used to know, and I know a lot of other people are there like, I'm just waiting for things to get back to normal again. Look, it's gone.
Yeah,
right?
You better be proactive. You have to be proactive as a business entrepreneur person. You got to be proactive in this environment and think of new ways to improvise and
look, not only as an entrepreneur. Actually, as an entrepreneur, you pretty much may be at a better position than you have ever been before.
Absolutely.
You know, because now this economy requires the hustle right now. But for the guy who was just relying on
collecting a check,
they're actually very, very at a very compromised position, and that's where you need to be proactive. Your whole hustle, whether you're a 9-to-5 guy or you're a part-time guy or whatever you're doing, it's time to change the game. And the main game, how I see it and what I'm doing, I've understood that owning digital online real estate is the way to go. You need to own a lot of shit online because you can leverage it. You know, who is this guy?
Scale. And the thing is about online businesses, you can scale them faster, faster than a brick and mortar.
You know what I'm saying? So number one is that you can leverage over time. Number two is that the cost to entry is very low as well. You don't need to start with something, right? Number three, the world is your oyster. So a lot of folks out there, they just focus, they complain about jobs. We have no unemployment in our country. It's like, yo, why are you only thinking about your own little country right now, right? If you are online, you now understand that, hey, I can sell product worldwide, right? A lot of people in my crypto university that saw their courses are Americans. right? So I don't care where I am anymore. As long as you know how to use cryptocurrency to receive, send money, it means that now you don't even have the barrier of saying, oh, how is that guy from Japan gonna pay me now? You know, you can now just go hard. So you own a lot of things online, you monetize them, and then you just scale them, you know, and you can leverage them for so many other different things. So, you know, to me, that's the game that I see, that you need to just plant so many seeds around the internet. You know, you've got affiliates money over there, you've got content money over there, and you have your business clients over there, and you have your DeFi earnings coming in from over there. That's pretty much the play. You cannot be, there's no one stable thread. There's no, you need to be dynamic, basically. You know, it's a dynamic model. The whole static model is gone off. Like, you know, I do this and then I make money. I don't think that's going to exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't exist anymore. You're spot on that. So, I from my understanding, you're into Uber as well. Tell us about how the Uber thing has been affected over in South America. Are those Ubers in South America or in another country?
No, I'm in South Africa. So
I mean South Africa. I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
No worries. So the YouTube video you saw about the Uber is a friend of mine is into Uber. So in 2017, when Bitcoin hit the all-time high, you know, I was wise enough to pull out at a good time, and then I had to do something with the money on the ground. So a friend of mine has a business where he has multiple Ubers. Well, the guy that I didn't know was actually someone who watched my video, right? And I have another business where I sell Legionanos here. And the guy made me say, hey, I want to buy a Legionano. And then I learned that he's into Uber. And I had already made a decision for myself to buy 4 cars and put them on Uber. And then I was ready to do it. Maybe just the week before, the week after that. And the guy told me that, hey, don't do that right now because it's not as that simple. Anyway, long story short, they say, I'm not into the Uber. My friend is, because I didn't go in because it's more complicated than people think it is. In South Africa, regulations are different in every country. That being said, people that invested in the Uber are just as now wrecked as the people.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so you missed
even the Airbnb boys, they got wrecked. You know, we're buying over average real estate simply because Airbnb was making money. And I'm in the city where it's really influenced by tourism. And now people are now having apartments with no tenants, and then they have to just pay the bank, the piper.
Yeah, wow. So like it goes back to what you were saying, having digital businesses is the way to go nowadays. Let's talk about Dogecoin, because you've been in cryptos for, you say, 6 years now. So you're very familiar with the whole Dogecoin movement back in the day. That was my love, man. I love me some Dogecoin. That was actually, I think, my second altcoin that I really invested in heavily. Bought it when it first came out, but they are going ham right now. What are your thoughts about Dogecoin and it going pretty much parabolic in the last couple of days because of a TikTok challenge? Is this an opportunity to fade the rally? What are you going to do with this? Are you going to touch it?
No, not at all. And I was looking.
Short it, man.
Where did you short it? Because I was looking for where I could short it.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't even looked.
Yeah, that's my challenge. Look, these guys, they have $10-20 buying Dogecoin. I love Doge. The thing is, for you to take the mission is to take it to $1, and the amount of money you would need to do that is ridiculous. You know, so it's not gonna happen. And the thing is, you have a lot of OGs who really got into the game early enough to stock a lot of Dogecoin that they don't need. If you take that, the more you inflate the price, the more those guys are going to be dumping, and they will be dumping big, right? So you are in for a reckless ride because it's just not going to work.
So it's interesting that you went to short Compound when I the other day went to buy it, because I saw it drop pretty badly when it went on live on Coinbase. What made you want to short Compound in that scenario?
I mean, to me, it's natural in crypto to see pump and dumps. If a coin goes up too much and then it dumps. Like if you see a coin like Dogecoin has gone up 46%, are you telling me that that's going to stay up there? So it is one of my trading strategies. And for those of you out there who are on my crypto university know this. I have a strategy where I short any coin that goes above 20%, right? Most of the time it works out. Sometimes, if a coin goes extremely high.
That's funny, bro, because listen, I did the opposite. Because I don't really short anymore other than Ethereum and Bitcoin in my algo. But like other altcoins, I never short because the sky that thing can get real. It can go to the moon. But right. I looked at the list, bro, and I saw Compound was one of the top losers. And I'm like, well, it's no different than any of these other DeFi tokens. So I might as well just buy some now, with it being 40% down and hold it for a bit. But that's funny. That's cool.
Yeah. So I do that. And then also I looked at the fundamentals. There was a game being played in Compound because people were earning Compound when they own a certain amount of Compound on the platform, right? So there are people gaming it. That's why the price was going so hard. People were putting money into it, putting collateral in, so that they can earn free Compound. And I knew that it wasn't a sustainable strategy because the only person who would be playing this kind of game is a trader. And the traders, they're not emotional about what they do. They don't love Compound, they don't care. They just do it for the money. And the moment they exit, I knew that it was going to drop. And I exited early because I exited at 203, I think. And then it went all the way down to like 170 something, I think. And that was,
I ended up buying it at 180 something. And I'm planning on buying a little bit more dollar cost average in because I think most of its coins are in circulation, right? I think. 80%.
Yeah, I would say you should wait. It's still overinflated right now. We should see a big correction in the next few days or weeks first.
You think in all altcoins, you're saying across the board?
Yeah, across the board, and then altcoins, obviously the ones that pump the most will see a big decimation in the next few, I think. And then there it will clean up a little bit, and then it will start to reverse itself. So the reason that I short more than I long is that shorts are easy to predict from my perspective. Longs are so hard. It's like, how long does it take for Bitcoin to actually move from 8 to 9K? But then it can go to 8,600 and just to reverse back to 8,200, right? So, and that happens very often. So it's easier for me to spot opportunities for shorting than opportunities for longing. It's harder to identify what would lead to a pump. Technical analysis alone is not enough for me. So
that's why I don't mess with any altcoins other than Ethereum when it comes to actively trading. I only actively trade Bitcoin and Ethereum with my algos, man. Because like you said, it can pump. Like, look at Doge. If you're short, I don't think there's a market to even be short Doge because it's such a small market. But
no, man, the exchanges, the small exchanges, that's their game right now. They find the coin that's pumping that day. They know that the traders like me out there who just want to really go all in on the short. So they list it to make sure that they invite people. Even Binance is playing the same game. So you might hear that some exchange listed a Doge perpetual contracts out there. And I will be one of the first people to sign up.
My man, hardcore crypto. I want to end with just kind of talking about this whole situation with black people in America and maybe even overseas. What are you seeing? Is there more of an awakening of what's going on in the world and how black people are treated differently? I saw you did a video on the whole Floyd situation. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I did see you touched on it. What's your take? Kind of give us what you talked about in that video, and how do you see that playing in even crypto or your YouTube channel? Kind of give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so look, I try to stay away from conversations like this, but my view is that what's going on you cannot solve, there is racism and there's also classism, right?
Yeah.
And you cannot, there is two things at play systematically. So you have power struggle, which is, a game that politicians play. And then you actually have real dynamic that's real in the world, right? And then that's people actually have problems that they want to solve, say racism. The people who drive these narratives, whether it's a news channel or is a politician, they have an interest to address it, but not simply to solve it, but simply to get what they want. So if you're a politician, you will try to address that situation simply to get votes. If you're a media channel, you will do it just to get clicks. So, and then you'll see that the conversations, even online, they go nowhere because it's all about who is the loudest, and it's all about clout, and it becomes about clout. But basically, my view is that, look, you'd rather be worried about yourself as a person. The greatest point in the system, or the greatest group in every system, is the individual. And a lot of people out there I know like to identify as a group. I try to stay away from any sort of group thing. In America, you have this thing of Democrat and Republican. I think it's stupid personally, because what does that even mean? Like, when you say you're a Democrat to me, or a Republican, you're saying that you are agreeing with everything that it means to be a Republican. And you didn't write those rules, right? So I think, if anything, number one, people should think for themselves. And to the black community side, I think we're better off looking for solutions for ourselves within than pointing out, waiting for someone to solve, to address something. I think that freedom is not something that you ask for; it's something that you grant, and you use it. So anyway, whether you're black or white out there, the world is more of a kind of, it doesn't care what kind of race you are in some sense. It just cares whether you can protect yourself or you can't. So, the most important thing right now is you need to get rich, because whether you are a social justice warrior, you really care about the world. But if you're going to have to ask for funding for some institution or for some company to run your mission, then you're already compromised. And people think that they can solve this whole social problems with complaining on Twitter and doing all these other things, but the real deal, man, we need to get rich. As for black people,
but I agree with you there. But I would say to those points, I would say it's getting rich is 100 times harder for a person of color. They don't get the same opportunities, right, as maybe someone who isn't that way, that color, doesn't look like me, right? You don't get that same opportunities of getting lending or getting to sit down with VCs and them actually believing in your idea. And it's for a number of reasons. It's not necessarily because you're brown, but I would say 85% of it is, a lot of it has to do with class, like you talked about. There's a class thing there. People, investors, VCs typically like to invest with people that they are in the same class or near, right? So, and they can relate to that person a little bit better. So I think there needs to be some improvement for sure, especially in tech, right? But even in crypto, you look at any of these crypto conferences, I see it all the time. I barely see a chocolate face on the panel as a keynote speaker.
Yeah.
At least in America. I don't know how it is over there.
Exactly the same. Exactly. So
okay.
In Africa, you have this thing where they use Africans as a token on the project, or they would use a woman as a token just to prove that
right.
But man, I'm telling you, the real deal, what I think is that so here's what's interesting for me from the black perspective, from the black community, right? We identify the problems, but then I think one of the questions that we need to ask ourselves is like, okay, from within, what can we do, right? It's not like we don't completely have financial, sort of economic power in some sense. We make money. Right?
Black people make money and spend it. That's the problem. We're not educated on what to do with the money once we get it.
So why did we you need to think about how much money we spend on certain liabilities of assets, right?
Sure.
Well, if that money was directed to a certain bank or a certain VC fund in our communities, well, that actually are there to fund our businesses from our community, that would be a different issue, because if you acknowledge that you're being disadvantaged in a society, then you actually have to act accordingly, that your spending patterns cannot reflect this someone else who have the luxury or the privilege of doing whatever they want. You know,
or adding to your disadvantage, right?
Absolutely. You actually
you're
the
exactly right. Your dollar should not go right back to the person you're complaining about, basically.
Absolutely, man. That's exactly what I meant. Yeah. You see. So here is the same in Africa, is the same narrative. But the thing is, like I said, when people are raising these issues and talking about it, the people that are more interested in pushing these narratives, they're not really trying to solve it. They're just saying, because maybe they own a radio station or a newspaper and they want more people to see their shit, or they're a politician, they want the black vote. It's really all about, you know, if you want to, it's like, if I want to get rich, I'm in crypto. There are elements where I get discriminated, but I don't even care to talk about it, because I know that, look, the amount of effort is going to take me to try to address it. It's just as much as the same time it's going to take me to cook up a product, sell it for myself, and really get my own.
Right. I agree. I'm definitely not the type that thinks that I need a handout. Absolutely not.
Yeah, you know, the handout thing is actually a poison if you think about it, because it really puts you in a position where you don't even know how to fend for yourself, you know. So, but look, I'm not saying that there aren't systematic issues that needs to be resolved, but I'm just saying that, look, actually the quickest way to address it maybe is to start from within first. You know, put money together, put your dough to good use, and then from there you can, you can do something. You can now set up other institutions that will defend you from the legal perspective and all that.
Yeah, man. One last thing I wanted to talk about. I know you did an interview with Vitalik Buterin about a year ago. How did that turn out for you? Did you find him to be one weird ass kid or what?
He is a weird ass kid, man, and I expected that, you know.
Yeah.
And he is the genius, you know.
Absolutely.
I like how he thinks. It's like, it's not surprised. Like, you talk to him, you know why he would be able to design something like Ethereum.
Right.
And you know, it's also it just approves the whole theory of Peter Thiel of, like, you know, the people that are most successful in certain aspects. You see that they have, say, some that would render them incompetent socially.
Yeah. Because God blessed them with, God took all their social characteristics and put it all into their brain.
Yeah,
so
it's like
a genius.
You know, it's like a spectrum. It's like, which side of the fence are you? You know,
right?
The same problem with the Nikola Teslas of the world, and even Kanye West. Actually, I would throw him there.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, he's an actual genius, and then he has a certain that is maybe socially unacceptable, but that's exactly what makes him who he is. So it is what it is.
Yeah, no doubt. So what do you think about Ethereum 2.0? I've been a critic of it for the last year and a half or so. Ethereum 2.0 actually has been in the making for about 4 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
So do you think, here's my thing. It's not that I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just concerned about when it's going to happen. And is it going to be too late? So far, no. Like, I don't see any other blockchains really like taking a lot of the lion's share of the spotlight, and maybe that's a kind of conspiracy industry thing that they're protecting Ethereum, because I know of a couple that are much better and do much more transactions per day, EOS being one of them. But what do you think about EOS 2.0? Are you going to allocate 32 ETH for the new proof of work or proof of stake system? Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on Ethereum 2.0.
Yeah, look, speaking with Vitalik actually just invalidates my the whole thing about how I feel about ETH 2.0, and I made a video about it. I'm already all in, man. I've got my ETH stacked up that when this thing starts, I will have I'll be hosting 2 or 3 nodes. So, Ethereum 2.0, the fact that it's not launched yet, to me is actually a validator that it's actually a real thing. And Ethereum it's the only blockchain that is a smart contract platform that actually has projects that are running with money on the table. DeFi has how much? 1.36 billion, I think, at this point, in custody. Majority of that money, maybe 90%, if not 99% even, is on Ethereum. So there are already real life use cases that are being built on Ethereum. But in terms of Ethereum 2.0, look, if you have ever built anything in your life, right? Or if you have even ever wrote code, if you ever write any code to try to build something little, you have an idea, you might think that this would take me 2 days to do, or a day, right? And then it end up taking you 2 months. That's how real things appear in real life. They're never perfect. But if you have something that Tron is already at Tron 4.0, I think at this point, right? Those are the things that are questionable because it's a marketing scheme. There's the technology, and then there's a real salesmanship on the side. Ethereum doesn't have that. There's no salesman on Ethereum. Vitalik doesn't sell. He talks about some weird shit on Twitter. He doesn't really want to talk about the token price. It's different from other. Cardano also shares that same aspect. That's also why I like it. But then if you compare to like the Tron or any other Neo and stuff like that, you'll see that there is an element of speculation from the developers.
From the entertainment, right. I agree with that. I'm definitely allocating 32 ETH for at least to run one node, just as that's my gamble on Ethereum. I'm gonna have that 32 there for whenever they get up and running with ETH 2.0, because they do definitely have the
look. It will be a major success if you ask me. All these big companies that will be building, and right now that the world has accepted everything that look, we need. We're going into a digital world right now. Majority, a lot of work jobs are not going to go back to the office. They will stay, remote. And there is a need for smart contracts. And I'm telling you, all the governments and the big institutions, they will have to build stuff. And a lot of those systems will be built on Ethereum, if you ask me. So
let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on hash graphs, Hedera in particular? I'm betting big on Hedera.
Yeah, it's a genius project as well. It's different. It's just that I think it's too. It's like a pipe. It's like it's a dream that would take a very long time to realize. It's an early thing, if you ask me, right?
Very early.
It's so early in its technology. So I hold a little bit of it, but it's not like I'm expecting too much in a short term. The founders are really great guys. I interviewed one of them, Mansam Herman, who was the acting CEO at the time. So it's something that I really like. I really like that project.
Hedera gives me the feeling that kind of I had with Bitcoin when I first found Bitcoin. It kind of, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but it just gives me that kind of that animal spirit in me. Just says, just buy a little bit of it and just forget about it. And in maybe 5 years, it'll be $100 something bucks or even more, and very popular and being utilized. They got some major players behind it, so we'll have to see. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. I didn't know.
Another coin that feels like that to me is Ravencoin. I'm a big Ravencoin guy.
Really?
Yeah, Ravencoin. Look, you should look into it, man. It's like no pre-mine. It also have a lot of VC money behind it and a lot of good devs, and they're actually trying to build real stuff. So I've been into it. I'm gonna have
to check that out. I know I've heard of it, but the name kind of turned me off. Like it sounded like a shit coin.
But you know what? I know. But the best projects in this space is that you must be betting on the tech if you're doing value investing.
Yeah.
And those things, you should just look at what the nerds are excited about. If there is a lot of good developer-based communities on Reddit, right? They're talking about different types of encryption methods and different types of technology. And if you look, you'll see it might give you a hint of what's really about to come, what's going to be the new thing, you know. So I found Ravencoin from those kind of communities, and I find good stuff from there. So I trust that it's a good project.
Cool.
And there's a long way to go, you know.
Yeah, man. I just, like I said, you know, that's one of the elements in my investment strategy. When I'm looking at long-term plays in crypto, I'm looking at the tech. The tech has to be solid, but also the partnerships have to be solid. To me, those two together, and maybe even money. If you have a war chest, you can weather the storm. You can lure great devs over to your blockchain.
Right.
And in those three components, to me, makes good for a long-term play in crypto. Any last minute thoughts you want to share with the fam, Gray?
Yeah, with the fam, look, I would say that we should talk about the cigars, man. What are you?
Man. So I just got these in. These are Cubans. These are Series P Partagas number 2s. Right. I'm loving these things, man. I had to stop buying the singles for a while. I'm spending too much money, man. So I had to buy.
I'm into cigars as well, you know, and it's good to know that there's more cigar folks in crypto.
Yeah, man. We'll have to have a whole powwow on the whole cigar tip. What kind?
I think on the next all-time high, you should come down to Africa, and then we can do it. There's also cryptos and cigars. There's a great guy, I think, from Delaware.
Black guy, right?
Yeah.
I need to get him on, man. I've seen my buddy Kennedy Financial. He was either on his show or he had him on his show. So yeah, I gotta check out Cryptos and Cigars. Been a pleasure chatting with you, man. Much success to you and the crew over there. How can people find you on a daily basis? Is Twitter the best route, or is it YouTube? Do you put out videos every day? Kind of give everyone a little background about that.
Yeah, look, if you're interested in cryptocurrency, obviously you can hit me up on any platform. And not only cryptocurrency, my channel is not really about just crypto. It's about hustling, you know, how to really get, my story is that I started hustling when I was 16 years old. I never went to college. I never really had so much opportunity. And then it's a story of someone who is just really trying to get this whole money thing right, using whatever I can find. And it just happens that cryptocurrency is that tool that I'm using. I found it, I'm using to actually achieve that dream, you know. So I'm on Instagram as GrayBTC. I'm on Twitter as GrayBTC, and I'm on Facebook, I believe, as well. And you can also find me on Crypto University. For those of you who want to learn how to trade in a real way and become successful traders or crypto investors, all the knowledge and experience that I have over the years, I've impacted it there. And for only $50, all the experience that I've had, and you only pay once, because look, crypto is a game of knowledge and information, you know. And there's a lot of scams out there, and all I can say is that, you know, people should just educate themselves. So that's really what I'm all about. You know, if you want to learn how to trade, we have a trading community. I have a free Telegram group. It's called the Crypto Secret Society. So if your whole game is all about making money, growing business, then, you know, you should reach out to Hardcore Crypto.
All right, that sounds good. GrayBTC, check my man out, Hardcore Crypto. It's been a pleasure having him on. That's another Kicking the Session, people. We're gonna rock out to his song Equity off that album, Satoshi Nakamoto. We out of here, people. Holla!
I be trying, cracking. I wanna be